Straight out the boot room to Wembley, our second home. We come to conquer, no, we never walk alone. We dominate, the cream of the crop, drawing all our strength from the roar of the cock. It's all for one and one for all. Pass a move, we're talking total football. Here we go again, Roy's red machine. Liverpool, the greatest team the world has ever seen. Pass a move, it's the Liverpool crew. Pass a move, it's the Liverpool crew. Pass a move, 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 it's the Liverpool crew.
Hello and welcome back to the Liverpool Groove. So, another friendly out the way, 4-4. Some be disappointed with that. I'm really not too asked. It's pre-season. We'll touch on it though. We look good going forward, really good. First half we were sound. No problems at all. Second half obviously fell apart a bit. But let's look at the positives first. Going forward, we look fantastic, especially second half. Nunez looked phenomenal. That number 9 seems to have given them a new lease of life somehow. I know it's only against a second division German team. It's hard to judge him on that, but just from that game, from the one before, his confidence seemed to be higher.
Yeah, he just looked ready to go again. That's what you want to see. No mistakes early on, and I think that boosted his confidence. I think the first half, I think you've seen our better players playing. They were more involved. We looked dynamite going forward in the first half as well. Diaz, pleasure to watch, isn't he?
Unbelievable.
There's little traits of Suarez in him, lad. When the camera zooms out and you just see him wriggling about that box, you just think Suarez. His quality, the linking with them players, Bento, superb, turning it up. So he's turning it up. Lad. He was turning it up. He didn't know how to place at all. He's got a bit rusty on his finishing and his final ball and that, but the way he beats a man, he literally just disposes of them. It just makes it look so easy, lad, for the size of him. He doesn't look like he should be that strong or fast, and he is. So I was dead impressed with him. So yeah, going forward, the first half, brilliant. Defensively, looked solid the first half, and then you go into a second half where we just sort of too many changes, too many of the key players not playing, and it just went a little bit. We just fell apart. It felt more like a pre-season game, the second half. I think the first half was a little bit like we could have been going out to play our best sort of football, and then the second half was, let's see what we've got here. And it wasn't much, to be honest. I think it flagged up a few signs that we are desperate to add some defenders to that team, because the ones we've got as backup are just not good enough. Even at that level, lad, they're playing second, third division German sides, and they're getting roasted. They're just not good enough.
See, and I've seen a lot of this on Twitter, and we've spoke about how fickle football can be in general. You've got people now saying, there's been a conversation with Gomez for a long time, in fairness. So I'm not going to include him in this. I'm not going to include Adrian in this either, because let's be honest, if he plays a competitive game this season, it's going to be as an absolute last resort. He's probably 5th choice at the minute when we think about it. But Matter, people are saying, he's not good enough anymore, when 2 seasons ago he was better than Van Dijk. Last season he was better than Van Dijk. Last season people wanted Tsimikas to start over Robertson. Now he's not good enough and needs to be sold. Is it all just a bit reactionary?
Yeah, definitely, yeah. I think Matip's as good as who's playing next to him, and at times when Van Dijk's been struggling last season and the season before, you've seen how good Matip is. Matip's an exceptional centre-half. I just think he's getting to that age now where if you can get money for him, knowing he's not really reliable with his injuries and stuff, then is it time to move him on and bring in a younger player who's a little bit better. But say it's hard when you change the defence that much. You've got a centre-half playing right back as well in Gomez, who I just think he hasn't been the same player since his injury. And I feel sorry for the lad, because that season we won the league, he was unbelievable. Yeah, and then he's gone. It could be a confidence thing. It could be a mindset thing with his injury, scared of it happening again. But I don't think Liverpool's his level at the moment, and we can't keep carrying him. Can't keep hoping he turns the corner, because he just doesn't seem to be. It's mistake after mistake. And I've said it for a number of seasons now. his best defending follows up from his mistake. He makes a good tackle or a great block after he's made the mistake, which is fine because he's rectified it, but he shouldn't. He's making basic errors every time he plays. Another flag for me is Kanate. Now Kanate's got this colossal, like this myth that he's a colossus. He's not yet. He's nowhere near in the same bracket as the likes of Van Dijk or Matip yet. He's got a lot of learning to do. He's still very raw and he rushes out when he shouldn't and the ball falls behind him or makes daft challenges or bad passing. So he's got a lot to do himself before you start classing him as a regular, because he's not quite good enough yet, I don't think.
All right, so I mean, yeah, fair enough. I mean, I can't say I necessarily agree. I do think at the minute he's our starter next to Van Dijk. I think when Van Dijk's next to him, I think he is a lot calmer. He doesn't make as many rash decisions, and I think they do come when he's trying to. I think it's when he's trying to lead the line himself, when he's starting with maybe a Matip or a Gomez, he feels like he's got to take the reins and lead the line a bit. So he starts bringing the ball forward when it's maybe not, he's not quite as suited to it. But I think if he just sticks to defending, I think he's fantastic. I think for the size of him, he's quick as well. He's not scared of going in for the challenge and things like that. I think he's still raw. He's 21, 22, I think. So of course he's going to be raw at that age. But I think when you look at him and how good he actually is at that age, working with Van Dijk and your Matips and these type of players, and obviously in the French team where I know he's not quite the level he was when he was at Madrid, but with your Varans and your Koundés and these type of players, you think of all these players he's learning off, lad, and he's only 22, 23, and he's this good now. Imagine how good he's going to be when he's actually in his prime.
Yeah, there's no doubt he's a good player, lad. But I think there's this. We, as Liverpool fans, we've got this thing where a player's instantly a god, like Van Dijk was. Van Dijk hadn't even kicked the ball for us, and he was going to be the best centre half we've ever had. And people are still living off that now. When he hasn't had a good 18 months, Van Dijk, and he's still they're still talking about him as our best ever defender, which I don't get, in all honesty. But Kanate's got a lot to prove before he can be guaranteed first team football. As far as I'm concerned, he's got so much talent, so much potential, but he's still making similar mistakes to Gomez, really, but doesn't get flagged up as much because it's Kanate. And I feel like it's the same with Van Dijk. Everything Van Dijk's done is what Matip's doing now, but Matip's getting absolute hell for it. So it is. I think it's just a fickle game with fans. We have our favourites, and some players walk on water instantly. Some players eating it, and we think, they deserve to walk on water now because like for me, Jordan Henderson walks on water because of everything he's done for the club. He can do what he wants. He's gone. No bad feeling. Shame where he's going, but he earned it. He didn't walk into Liverpool Football Club and we went, oh my God, what a signing. He's going to be the best. He's going to lift every trophy. But sort of Van Dijk did. And Kanate's got that. I think Kanate's up there already for some of the fans because he makes a few great tackles and a few good blocks and a few good runs, but they don't see the negative side of his game. I'm not going to dwell on it. I just think when we're talking about the centre halves, I think Kanate's got the same thing in him as Gomez and Matip, where you are part expecting at least a mistake a game, and they can prove costly, lads. If that one mistake a game can cost you 3 points. So we need to sort all these issues with the defenders first before we do anything else.
Yeah. See, I feel like that's the nature of the position now. Like, I've seen some, obviously, because rival fans are weird, made a compilation of Van Dijk's mistakes for Liverpool. And, like, he's cost us, he's cost us a fair few goals himself, even in the seasons where he's been absolutely fucking world class, practically, perfect. And he's give lazy passes back to the keeper, which have been cut out by players. He's missed balls. It's just the nature of the position, lad. It's the most, that's the position that's under threat the most, because their job is to stop, obviously, the keeper being under threat. So it's the nature of the position. Yeah, you're going to get mistakes, and yeah, don't get me wrong, I feel like Gomez makes too many mistakes. Matip probably makes too many mistakes, and Kanate may be in that breath as well. I don't feel like he makes quite as many mistakes as the other two, but I know what you're saying completely. But again, I feel like Van Dijk, he's not. He still does it as well himself. He's capable of them.
Yeah, that's what I mean. As a whole, as a unit, our defence makes way too many mistakes, and you can't put a finger on exactly which player it is all the time. There's not really a player there in our defence that you can say he's not going to make a mistake this game, and that's a worry for me, because even in pre-season we're seeing teams like of the quality we're playing against getting in behind us, skipping past our centre halves, skipping past our fullbacks. Now some of them are only kids, so you'd expect it. They're there to learn, but your senior players should be sort of making a statement and showing the kids what should be done and how it should be done. And defensively, I don't think it's been that great this pre-season. So if we're talking about transfers and stuff, a big name centre half would be before anyone else now, I think, for me.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I think it's well known. We're looking for the centre half. That's been sort of mooted or window. But I think, I don't know, I can't look too much into it because it's pre-season. You look at the pre-season the season before we won the league, we lost pretty much every game, and it was against better opposition. Don't get me wrong. So you don't really look too much into it there. But again, it's like pre-season doesn't really matter. We've had pre-seasons where we won every game comfortably, and then gone into the league and finished 8th. And we've had pre-seasons where we've lost most games and won it or nearly won it. You know what I mean? It's like
Results
I don't think
matter.
there's a direct correlation.
If we lost 5-0 in every pre-season game, but we actually defended all right and every shot went in or something like that, then you just take it on the chin. It's the fact that it's gone on for 2 seasons and the defence has been part of a massive problem with Liverpool conceding goals and making mistakes and poor judgments and errors, individuals. It's not even, you can't even blame the system at times. We've moaned about the high line and stuff, but a lot of the goals we concede are from individual errors. The likes of Van Dijk, just like moving out the way of the ball and putting his hand behind his back and ducking and stuff before shots. Like they're basic things you learn as a kid, basic traits you learn not to do. And our defenders are doing it. So somewhere along the line, something's up with the defence. I'm not going to go on too much about it, but I think we need another experienced centre half for Kanate to learn off, and someone more reliable than Matip. I'd keep Matip 100%. I think it's time we part company with Gomez. But again, if he's quite happy to sit in at right back when Trent's not available, then you can't get rid of anyone like that because he's versatile, and we haven't got anyone else.
Defensively wise, no, we haven't really got anyone who's versatile other than Gomez. So I think for that reason, and just hitting the homegrown quota, I think it's important to keep him for that. I think when he has played right back in the past, last season, he's been better than he has been at centre back, because his main priority has been just defend. He's worked on his passing. He's put some great crosses in last season and things like that. So he's obviously learning that side of the game as well. For him, must be picking up, bits off Trent and stuff like that. So I think for his versatility alone, keep him. I think if he slots in at right back, Ramsey's gone out on loan. It's looking like at the minute it's going to be Conor Bradley. It's going to be Trent's back up at the minute, but I think it really probably should be Gomez and then Conor Bradley.
Yeah, I think it's hard because you want to go into pre-season and you want to see all the cobwebs dusted off and like a new lease of life for everyone, like a fresh start. You haven't kicked the ball for the club before. Let's see what you can do. But all the old signs are there from the defenders. That's my point really. I'm not really too fussed about pre-season, how we get on, but when you can see the same traits creeping into the game as happening for 2 seasons, you worry a little bit. Don't get me wrong, conceding 4 in a pre-season game doesn't bother me. Not asked. There's a mix of kids, a mix of quality. It's all about minutes and fitness. So I'm not really asked what the result. It's the way we defend in the games that concerns me a little bit.
Yeah.
But, yeah, to be honest, probably gone a bit over the top with it, to be fair, just reactionary to the defence. But if we can keep Fabinho, basically keep Fabinho and sign an understudy to him, my next player would be a proper centre half who's gonna come in and start ahead of one of the current starters. Someone who's gonna come in and make a statement, make a difference. And then you've still got, again, you're talking about Konate being 21, 22. He's learning off all these players, but it's still hard to go into a team with a struggling Van Dijk and a struggling Matip and a struggling Gomez, a struggling midfield, and learn as well as you would if they were playing well. Do you know what I mean? So it's good experience for Konate, but I just think he'd be better off with someone ahead of him and pushing himself on to start, because he's just come in and started, hasn't he, really? He's come in and that's his position. Then he got a few knocks here and it hindered him, but he was brought in to start, and I think we could do with someone a little bit older, a bit more experienced, and that's just my view on it. I'll probably get loads of shit off fans because, as I say, Konate is like a little messiah to some of the little cults, but potential-wise, brilliant. He's gonna get there. He's gonna be quality. He's probably you put him in the same category as hopefully Van Dijk in the future because of his presence and his size, the speed. He's got everything you need. Just needs to dust these mistakes away.
Yeah, I mean, I know what you're saying about bringing an experienced centre half in. I think it would help, but it's not the type of player we go for anymore. We don't really do that. We don't look at we just don't look at that type of player anymore. We want the potential. We know what FSG want to buy. They want to buy players with high ceilings, high potential, so that if the time comes where we do end up selling them, even if we buy them for big money, we make a profit. And so going out and signing an experienced centre half, I just don't think is what they're going for, which is why we've obviously been linked with this Colwill all summer, because he's got the ceiling. You know, Chelsea fans say he's the next fucking John Terry. So the ceiling is fucking, his potential is massive, but that's what we're linked with. We're not linked with your seasoned, more experienced players.
No, but when I say experienced, I don't mean old. I mean experienced. So you could have a player like Matip who played a couple of 100 games in Germany before he came to Liverpool. He's experienced for club and country and came in at a decent age where he could make a difference. Still had sell-on value, and we got him for fuck all. So that's what I'm aiming towards. Someone who's played football for a while and knows his position, and can come in and make a difference. Someone who's just a little bit older, a little bit better than Konate at the moment.
That's the thing, though. You know, Konate, he played games in Germany, played games in France before Germany, so he's played the position. He's even at a young age. You know, Soberslai's come in. I think he's 22, 23 himself. You know, he's played over 100 games in Germany, played games in Austria. It's like these players are getting brought into the teams at a much younger age these days. First team players that they become, you know, you can get that sort of experience tag at a much younger age.
You can't really afford to have a player learning on the job at centre half. Just before, it's the main fault of all our goals being conceded is the rash decisions and the mistakes from the centre halves. You can afford a player to lose the ball in centre mid because you've got a defence behind it. You can't afford to keep happening week in, week out at the back, and that's what this pre-season showing is potentially going to happen again, in my opinion.
We'll have to just wait and see how the rest of it goes. Obviously, we're going over to Singapore. I think it's this week. And if the rumours are to be believed, there's going to be a big announcement alongside that. Not in terms of a player, but apparently we've had investment secured for a long time from Singapore. And apparently, what I've heard is that announcement is going to be made alongside us going over to Singapore, which, when you think about it, makes a lot of sense to do it in that nature. Whether it's true or not, we'll have to just wait and see. But look, let's look at the positives from the game. Like we said, Nunez looked fantastic. The link-up play with Salah seemed amazing. But he looked like he had composure. You know, the goal where he's took it around the keeper, he wouldn't have done that last season. Even the goal where he's picked it up, carried it, knocked it past the defender and then slotted it past. He wouldn't have done that last season. So I think already he's starting to look more confident. I think him picking up English, and we've seen videos of him. He's having jokes and that in training. Like he's finally integrating himself properly into the squad, and I think he's going to have a special season.
Yeah, I hope so, lad. So we discussed on the last one, you don't quite know what he's going to do. I don't think he knows what he's going to do, and I think that's the beauty of him. He is absolute chaos for himself and for the opposition. So got to just see how he goes. We can't put too much pressure on him either, because he's a young lad, and like discussing Canate, he's still young. He's still 22. He's coming in. He can learn off the likes of your Jotas and your Diaz and your Salah, and not put too much pressure on him. But in reality, he is going to be one of our leading strikers, so he's got to start hitting the ground running now. But even last season, I think he got about 15 goals.
Yeah.
Never done too bad across all competitions last season, and he never played as often as I think he would have liked either. So if you can
especially
get 20
towards the end of the season.
And you know, he scored 2, got an assist. So that's what you want. He's absolute carnage everywhere he goes, through the middle, even there where he's took it past the defender or he's took it around the keeper. Some players just hit it first time, and he was one of them. So if he can bring that into his game where he's composed and calm in front of goal, as opposed to just lashing out, you've got a superb player on your hands.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go on to, you mentioned Fabinho before, bringing in an understudy. So it looks like his deal might not be going ahead as planned. In a fucking mad 360.
French Bulldogs.
But then we've also seemed to really have upped our pursuit of Lavia now. So I commented on this last night. It seems to me that us getting Lavia was actually dependent on Fabinho staying, not going. Because I think Fabinho going, you need someone ready-made as his replacement. And Lavia, again, potential of anybody in the world. He's got the potential to be one of the best midfielders in the world. But you can't be bringing him in as your starter at Liverpool at the minute. But you keep Fabinho, bring him in as your understudy, and you've got your perfect scenario in my eyes.
Yeah, I agree, lad. So the only thing with Fabinho is if his legs don't improve and he stays as slow as he is and as lackadaisy as he's been, then we're going to struggle. But we've seen signs 10, 15 games at the end of last season where he looked his old self a bit. Was getting better and better each game. Every time we looked like we were improving, he was improving with it. So you've got to just put scenarios in place and say, right, the legs around him weren't there. He struggled. Van Dijk struggled. The defence struggled. The legs are in the midfield now. So I'm looking forward to that point of pre-season where you start seeing your first 11 in the league and see how we go. I'm not really asked about the opposition. I want to just see how we go with our starting 11. But yeah, Fabinho playing in that middle with fresh legs can be absolutely massive. It can be a new lease of life for him, new lease of life for us. Bringing a player in like Lavia, who's a bit more forward-thinking than Fabinho, but is great defensively as well, is the right direction to go. It is. It's the right direction to go. As you say, if Fabinho leaves, we're stuck with needing 2. We need a starter and an understudy because we've got nobody else. People are saying Pachetic. He's not role mate. He's a Thiago. He's a luxury player. Give him the ball and spray it out, but he's not going to run around, breaking play up and tackling all game. So we need to make sure either Fabinho stays or we go and whatever money we get for him gets spent on a ready-made player to come in and start.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, Jordan Henderson as well. We've got his deal is pretty much done by the looks of it. Was filming his goodbye video at Anfield yesterday in an empty Anfield. I commented saying it should have been in front of a crowd, and you know, a lot of people have agreed, and then there's people saying, but he chose to leave. It's like, and what? So what? He still, like, all I was making the point was he deserves a proper Anfield goodbye.
He does. He deserves a mosaic. He deserves the whole crowd being around there singing his name for everything he's done for us. It was proper sad seeing him walking down the ground on his own.
Yeah.
With a cameraman. It was it's not the way it should have ended, but I wish that this discussion would have happened before the last game of the season. I wish, like, in hindsight, the club would have sat down and said, listen, what do you think of this? We're going to put you up for sale because you're not going to play. Do you want this as your try? You're leaving, you can go. But again, no one's come in for him, only them. And that's why he's going, because the conversation's been out of him that you're not going to play as often as you'd like. At 33, you probably want to be playing every week until you retire. And that's why Milner's left, because in your head doesn't grow out to being a kid. They're still playing the first game in their heads, still walking out to Never Walk Alone for the first time. Henderson said that it doesn't get old. He wants to play every week, and if we can't offer him that, then you've got to make the decision to do what's best for you. Obviously, 600 grand a week in your ass pocket as well. It's a bit of a pull, innit? But
we know that's not true.
I'm not going to judge him on where he's gone or what he's doing. I'm going to judge him on what he's done for Liverpool Football Club, and that's win every fucking trophy that's worth winning. So, here's to you, Jordan Henderson. Nice one, lad.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more, lad. It's just pathetic. Like, this whole, let's not get into the people on the internet again, because we'll be here for an hour again.
What I want to mention is, and it got brought to my attention as well, Liverpool won the World Club Cup in Qatar, which is the same policies, the same rules, shit like that. Not one single thing's been mentioned about it. Not a lot's being mentioned about Gerrard. Not a lot's being mentioned about Firmino. It's because it's Henderson. Because it's Henderson, lad. And at the end of the day, that league is going to be investing a lot more money into sports, and eventually they're going to fucking take control. And it's sad to see, but at the end of the day, it's like it's a little bandwagon. They're offering the money. No one else is coming for them. You're going to go. You're going to go. You're not going to look at all the politics. Fucking hell. We have people coming to England all the time. Have you seen how this country's run? It's hard to live inside the day, mate. This is fucking shit over here. So, good luck to him.
I know, it's just one of them, lad, isn't it? You know, you look at some of the, the Brazilian players that we have, and they're all like fucking massive right wing and that, and no one's really that arsed. It's like, put the political side of everything aside, and he's going over to play football. It's not that deep. Like,
well, exactly. He can't have any say on how to fucking run a country. Do you know what I mean? We go on holiday to places where it's shitholes, and we go on tours where people are living in fucking caves, and we go and pot around their houses while they're trying to make a living from making pots and shit. That shouldn't be how you lived in this day and age anywhere in the world. So, and we're paying fucking 50 quid to go and see them in their houses. Have a go at everyone. Do you know what I mean? It's like you go on holiday, you go and move abroad, you don't look at the ins and outs of the fucking policies. It's just one of them things. I said to you on the last one, lad, if you got offered double the wage to go and work for some cunt who was an absolute rat, you wouldn't think of, what does he get up to in his spare time? How much of a prick is that boss? Give me 40 grand a year instead of 20. Give me 60 grand instead of 30. Just go and bite his hand off and take the dough, because that's what life's like. Yeah. How many more holidays can he have? How much more food can we buy? That's the way the world is, unfortunately. Fucking hell, lad. Done a week shop yesterday. It cost me fucking 90 quid. Meat and eggs.
It's crazy, isn't it? But lad, I just have to laugh that. You just like, I remember going to Dominican years ago, lad, and we were on this tour, and we ended up fucking visiting some our woman in a garden who'd had 27 million kids, and then after that we got to go to a school where there was kids having a lesson. And you don't think about it when you're doing it, lad, and now that you've just brought that up, it's like, what the fuck was I doing?
I know, lad, we went to these caves in Tunisia. Where they choose to live like that, to be fair, but they just live in caves, and it's literally, they fucking smashed holes in these caves and put front doors on them, lad, and they live in them. But they've got sky dishes and that on the outside. It's fucking weird. It's madness, lad. But to say, we don't go around countries where we're on holiday and judge all the politics. We don't even look into it. So you can't be that two-faced unless you are genuinely concerned for all the well-being of the people in Saudi Arabia, and you're pushing agendas and you're pushing the fight against their rights and stuff to get them better quality of life. Then shut up, fucking just shut up and get over it, because it is what it is. Jordan Henderson play football in a sunny country on 600 grand a week because Jurgen Klopp's told him he's not going to play for Liverpool as often as he'd like. It is what it is.
That's it, lad. How many of the people slating him have been on holiday to Egypt or Morocco or Tunisia, where all these things, it might not be quite as strict, but it's still illegal to
They're
be.
probably putting pictures from
You know what I
Dubai
mean?
every lad.
It's hypocritical, and it's all because they want Jordan Henderson gone. So look, but let's not dwell on it. Like I say, Jordan Henderson, he's won everything for the club. He's the only captain in our history to lift every trophy that he's lifted. He's a legend. People don't want to hear it. He's a legend. It's simple. It's fact. And he deserves
like
a full Anfield
really,
goodbye.
sorry, lad. I feel like it's people who don't really grasp football that say he's shite. You don't realise what he offers. Again, I've said to you many a time, what does he offer off the ball? What does he offer off the pitch? Off the ball, the people who go to the match, who sing his name from the cop and all around the stadium, they see what he does off the ball. They see him pressing that the cameras don't show you. You know what I mean? They see him blocking out the potential pass. They see him fucking running his ass off into corner flags to win the ball. See him tackling, passing. Sometimes, like, he gets shit for putting one of the things about him, putting the ball into Rowe's head with his crossing, but he's trying to force things to happen when things aren't happening.
Yeah.
It's not always going to be quality. Fucking Gerrard done it sometimes. Players do it. Midfielders do it. Every footballer makes mistakes when you're in a rush to try and make something happen, and it's part of football. But he's literally led us to everything. And I don't. People are saying we'd have won more without him, or we'd have won the same without him. We wouldn't, because he knitted that whole group together. He made a group of mates instead of a team, instead of a group of individuals. That's where we differed from Man City. At times, we had a group of proper mates who were all in it together, and City have only just got that the last few years.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're absolutely right. And you know, you look at his career as a whole, lad, and it's been the most up and down Liverpool career I've ever seen in my life. He come in as a young prospect, got told he wasn't wanted. We're going to sell you to Fulham. He's gone, no, you're all right. To then being an integral part of when we nearly won the league in 13-14. Most people to this day still say we only lost the league because he was banned in the last 3 games.
I agree.
Me included. You know, to then becoming vice captain, like he's. I don't think any other player in my lifetime, at least, has overcome as much adversity as him. I think the only other one who comes close to, for me, is Lucas. And I don't even think Lucas overcome as much as Henderson did. Lucas never really got told he wasn't wanted by management. Lucas never got told he was getting sold.
But again, you had the same argument. You had your Twitter dickheads who hated Lucas till the day he left, and you had the people who went the match and who understood football, who never went the match, knowing exactly what he offers the team. And it weren't a magnificent footballer. He weren't a Brazilian you'd expect to see. He was a fucking different cut of cloth, then, mate. He was bizarre, but he gave absolutely everything for the shirt, and he put his body on the line for us. He'd take a booking or a red card if it meant not conceding a goal. He was fucking nails on, a hard-working player, and that's what we love, lads. And Jordan Henderson's in the same bracket, but went on to lift every single trophy you can lift, barring the UEFA Cup, which again I feel sorry about, because I think he'd have got that next season. But so, in a nutshell, lad, the conversation has been had before he's made any decisions. Am I going to play? Not really. Okay. And it's a shame it's ended with him walking around Anfield on his own. I wish, with him being in Liverpool, do you know, if Liverpool would have made an announcement saying Jordan Henderson's leaving tonight, get down to Anfield, say to that, the ground would have filled up. Guarantee you.
100%.
Would have filled up.
But look, it is what it is. I wish him all the best. I hope he goes on to fucking win whatever there is to win over there. That's how much I know about it.
He'll end up in a ladder match with a tiger, but he'll win.
Yeah, obviously he's a winner. Hendo Shuffle on the top of a ladder. No, look, I wish him all the best. Like I say, he's won everything there is to win, and yeah, he's a legend. So, like you said, here's to you, Jordan Henderson. But yeah, it's going to be a sad day when it actually gets announced. Regardless, we know it's coming, and it's just going to be horrible. I don't like it, but it's football. It happens, doesn't it?
I take the build up, mate. Like, I just wish all these fucking in the nose and all the journalists just leaking shit all the time. Like, how the fuck did he know everything? burns my head out.
We've seen that Fabrizio Romano. He shared his screen time, didn't he? Like how much he's on his phone a day. He's on his phone 17 hours a day, lad. That's how they know. That is his life double. That's why he's got fit. That's why he's the only journalist out there with fucking 15 million followers. You know what I mean?
Good, like, he's like, he's right up there. He's fast as well. So he's one of the ones you're taking interest in. But even sometimes he's wrong.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it's guessing games, lad. It's like,
I think so.
I think a lot of it's just guessing it in the jackpots, and then you've got the idiots like that fucking indie, whatever you call them, who just guess,
Yeah.
you know, absolute shite. But I wish we could go back to the days where, like, Liverpool have signed such a body. Oh, sound is right. Get it. Like we did with Fabinho. There was not a link. We just lost the European Cup final. Fabinho was in a Liverpool kit. Happy days. But I was discussing this as well yesterday. What is the rule with signing players now? Because I'm seeing all the time, like Liverpool have agreed terms with Lavia, but he yet to speak to Southampton. How the fuck does that work, lad?
Probably be
granted permission to speak to the player by the club.
To speak to the player directly, yeah. But what it'll probably be is the club going to the player's agent, and when you say agreed terms, it's like you've probably gone to the agent and gone, right, we're interested in Lavia. We haven't started talks with Southampton yet. What would it take for us to be able to secure a deal with him? And the agent's probably gone, so we're looking for this much, this a year, this signing bonus, these bonuses, this, that, and the other. And we've gone, all right. So I think it's probably more the agent. They talk to the agent to see if a deal can be done. And then they've started talks because, like, I think I seen that. And then someone commented, I don't think anyone makes a bid with if they're not under the impression that the player is willing to join. So I think it'll all be through the agent for now. I don't think the player themselves would have spoke to the club.
But obviously the agent's going to go to him and say, we've had this interest from Liverpool. That's a head tearer for me. So I just think that's still tapping up in it, basically.
It might, I mean, yeah, I know what you're saying, but that must be the loophole with it, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
if you speak to the agent and not the player, then...
It's obviously happened for years. It just seems like the last few years it's been put out there that that's happening without any fucking issues.
No, that's your way I think of it.
He's on with Van Dijk, didn't he? And then so come on, fucking the big one in Blackpool, and we got ridiculed for it. But that's because I think we met with him direct. But it just seems weird to me that it's allowed to happen like that. As soon as Liverpool come knocking at your door and you're in at Southampton, you want to go, don't you? As we know, because we can't nearly half their team.
No, I think that's what it must be. Like, it must be the agent. You know, it's not like we've got Lavia turning up to our training ground like he's Peter Odemwingie waiting for the transfer to happen. So I think we're safe.
Well, that's what I mean, though. Like, yeah, I discussed it with the same situation with Henderson. Henderson spoke to Klopp. Will I play? No. Sound. Well, I'll agree terms with them, but then we reject the bid. So he looks a bit of a dickhead. I'm going. Said the tirades to all his players and that, and then we go now. So he looks a pillar. So it should be
a lot of these stories like get leaked by the agents, get told by the agents because they want, you know, the agents. As soon as who was it? I seen a clip from another team's podcast the other day. I can't remember what it was, and he was talking to Kevin Phillips, and he basically was saying, I think it was a Palace podcast, and I don't even know why it come up on my timeline, but it did. And he was basically saying, as soon as he was told by his last before the club he was at before he joined Palace, his agent was on the phone straight away, like immediately after he'd finished speaking to them. So it's the equivalent of us ending this and then me getting on the phone to someone and going, right, I'm leaving. Who can I go to, kind of thing. So it happens that fast, lad. So these agents must be like, look, this player's on the market to journalists. Because journalists must have contacts that some of the agents don't, you know what I mean? So it must be all stuff like that, lad. And it's just, as I say, I don't think Henderson has agreed a deal necessarily directly with the club. I think his agent's gone to him and gone, I'll let you fuck there. They're offering you $700 million trillion a day. They're giving you the Tiger, they're giving you the Palace, and 14 Bugattis. Do you want to accept
the Chihuahua?
Yeah, but you can't take your Chihuahua because they might fucking, I don't know, they end up getting fed to your Tiger. But no, so it's probably his agent said this deal's on the table if you're willing to accept it. He's had the conversation. being told we're not going to play him, he's gone to his agent. Yeah, if the deal can be sorted, I'll accept that offer. So I think it's more done through the agent. He's the middleman. You know what I mean? It's not.
Yeah.
It's like if you go to a travel agent and book a holiday, you're not booking it direct with the hotel, are you? You're booking it through the travel agent. It's fucking same thing, really.
Hey,
In my
good
art,
anyway. And I like that, lad. I like that.
Thank you. I like that. That just come to me. No, but look, it is what it is. I don't think there's clearly nothing illegal. Otherwise, you wouldn't have these stories breaking every single day. That so and so has agreed terms with the club, with the player. Sorry, now to do the deal with the club. It wouldn't be happening every single day if it was anything illegal. So, but I know exactly what you're saying because it baffles me sometimes as well. To be fair,
Baffle me.
Yeah, but look, again, thanks, Jordan Henderson. But let's to just go back to that point, just to make sure everyone knew that's what we were talking about. But look, we put a thing out on social media yesterday asking for a few questions, and we thankfully actually got a couple, didn't we? So
yeah,
I believe you've got one for me, and I've got one for you. So do you want to hit me with yours first?
Mine's just someone's asked me what's the best Liverpool song, and he's mentioned like Liverpool Never Gonna Stop, Passing Moves to Liverpool Groove. I had an album when I was a kid called This Is Anfield, and I can almost remember the order it started. It was You'll Never Walk Alone by the Fans, and then Ferry Cross the Mersey, and then I'm sure there was one. I think it was Liverpool Never Gonna Stop, and then there was one about Michael Owen. There was one. It was a pelter actually, but yeah, I used to listen to that before. I used to play FIFA as a kid, listening to that, and then I'd play me last game, whoever our opposition was, and then whatever score that game ended, I'd ask me dad to put a bet on the match, and then I'd go to the match. That was my little ritual, with me Liverpool socks on and me scarf. So my favourite one is My Liverpool, the Cock Will Always Rule. I always get shivers listening to that.
Yeah.
And that's why I've got that on, because that is me thinking the Cock will always rule.
Yeah. It's a good question, like, because there's so many, isn't there? I mean, obviously, I've got a soft spot for the Liverpool groove. But I don't know. Can you call it a Liverpool song? No, heart as big as Liverpool. Can you say that's a Liverpool song, or is that more a City song?
It's a City song, that, innit? As in the city of Liverpool.
Yeah,
There's loads. I have to say, obviously, You'll Never Walk Alone, you're number one, but we hear it all the time. So I think sometimes when you hear it all the time, it loses its meaning a little bit. But right, with what's happened with me in my personal life, every time I hear it now, it sends me west. But in a way, brings back memories, me ma and I yelling that, and being in the ground and hearing other people. You sort of, when you've gone through shit where that song's been like a focal song, you look around and you see other people doing the same as you, and you think, I wonder what their story is, and it means a lot more than just a song. You'll Never Walk Alone. It does. But in terms of something that G's you up and gets you going for the match and that, the Cock Will Always Rule's mine. But
yeah,
come on, what's yours?
I honestly don't know, because you could look at it from, like, you know, what's your favourite Liverpool song in terms of what gets sung in the ground at the match and that, and you could go with, like, you know, Poor Scouser Tommy, something like that, because I think that's just classic. Like, that for me brings me back to going to match when I was a kid and that, and that was one of the first songs I remember learning properly was Scouser Tommy. Like, it was just, yeah, you know what, I don't know if that's the answer, if that's what he was meaning, but I'm going to go with Poor Scouser Tommy, actually.
Well, Scouser Tommy was actually, I think it was on the album anyway. So I think what he was asking for was like what's being recorded that you can listen to. But Poor Scouser Tommy's been recorded loads of times. I think the Ragamuffins done a version as well.
I was just going to say,
yeah. But yeah, Scouser Tommy, that was our Peter's favourite song as well. He had as his ringtone and that. I remember not long after he passed away, we went to his grave. I always take him a bottle of bud, and I have a little bottle of bud with him. And oh lad, fucking hell, it was silent, and someone was driving. Someone must have been parked up outside the cemetery, lad, and they were playing Jamie Webster, Paul Scouser Tommy. I've got shivers, and I was just sat having a bud with our Peter, Paul Scouser Tommy on the background. It was mad. It's fucking weird, but little things like that give you hope, don't they?
Yeah, absolutely.
Also, if the fellas watching the video, that's a recording from I think it's Liverpool Chelsea, is it? It's a recording from a match, an actual match we played, and it's just a crowd singing, lad, and it's absolutely. I put it on sometimes when I'm just in the loft. It's like my go-to place when I haven't been in the match for a little bit, and it's just song after song and shouting, and it's quality. So the cop felt it as well.
Yeah, good question. I like that though. So my one for you, to fucking go in a completely different direction to that question. So King Hippo asked, "Are FSG treated unfairly?"
Yeah, in a way, I think it's hard because they do wrong. They have done wrong. The wrongs they've done in the past, we've had when they tried to get us in the Super League. You know, we kicked off. I wanted the Reds on platters, mate. I wanted them gone. I wanted them lynched. They tried to name, take the branding name of Liverpool away from everyone else and own the name Liverpool. I think they've done it. We can never walk alone. The furlough, the likes of the ticket prices going up, stuff like this. But they've rectified most of the issues where they were a bit out of sync with the club supporters. So on that basis, yeah, they've made mistakes. They've tried to profit a bit more than they should do based on the support they've got from us. They try and market that the fans. My big issue with them is that the marketing of the fans and the flags and the lads who are there every week and using the images like what you've got behind you to sell their merchandise, whilst pricing out local fans who go every week, not necessarily from Liverpool either. Fans who want to take the kids who can't because it's too expensive. They're putting on like deals where you can get a hotel, a ticket, a flight, all in a package for people who've never been to a match before. And I think that cuts deep with me more than anything because they prioritise making money from fans who are going to come and take the pictures and raid the club shop and eat all the food and all that shit, whereas the likes of us go to the match, have a pint in the sand and have a pint in the church, have a pint in Saggy's, you know what I mean? Get in the ground, listen to Never Walk Alone, get off, go back to the pub. We have our own ritual when you're from round here, and fans who go to the match every week. I've gone the game for 14 years, missed one season, can't get a ticket. So I've got to rely on other people's credits to get in the ground now. Again, everything we went through with my mum and my sister, I wanted to take me dad again. To get 2 tickets together is nearly impossible. So the way the club's run ticket-wise and the people who are in the ground pisses me off the most about them. But I don't think they're the only owners in the world who are like that. I think it's every club across every country who run it like that now. Liverpool Football Club's a tourist attraction. It's like us going to New York and wanting to catch a basketball match or something. You pay the money, you go and you be a tourist, you take your photos, you experience it. Just you don't like happening when it's something you love. So in terms of investments, Fenway Sports have invested in the stadium. As Hippo said, he did mention we've invested in the stadium, we've invested in the actual training facilities. They've bought players. You can't doubt they've bought players. We go back to we bought Van Dijk and Alisson because of Coutinho, but since then we've changed the full forward line under our noses without it even being mentioned. We brought in Diaz, Gakpo, Nunez, Jota, and then you've got your Szoboszlai, McAllister. So we've brought in players to basically rebuild this first team. Who we sold this season? Who we sold that's going to be worth enough money to rebuild the team? Not many. We're using our profits and our margins to buy these players on top of a stadium being rebuilt, on top of an access training facility. So when people moan that they don't spend, it's a load of bollocks, really. We're doing the only unfortunate thing for us is we'd all like them to cheat like Man City, in a nutshell. we all wish they'd just fuck FIFA fair play off as well and go out and do what Man City are doing, because we won't. Our owners don't have as deep a pockets as Man City's owners, but our club's earning enough to go and do what they're doing. We could go and have a summer at 300 million. That money's there, sat there, but it's not the way football should be. And it's credit to our owners that we're still abiding by the rules. And it's because of owners like ours that Man City will eventually get sanctioned.
Yeah. I think for me, and I agree with everything you said there, to be fair, I think for me, the one thing I just can't fathom with like the FSGL lot is they've got there's no talking to them about it. They don't look at they can't see both sides of things. Like you've just mentioned, everything bad they've done, but everything good they've done. You've got to level, you're level-headed about it, and I'm the same. Like, yeah, they've done bad, but they've also done good. I'm not naive enough to go in and think, well, they've done bad, that's it. It's like, but no, every owner has done something dodgy. Every owner has done bad with the club. Conversely, every owner has done good with the club. It's like United with the Glazers. They spend 300 million a season, and then they get beat by fucking Huddersfield, and the Norwich scarves come out. It's stupid, and it glazes out. And don't get me wrong, I know United are in a fucking shitload of debt, but then that's the way you've got to look at it. United are in a shitload of debt. The ground's falling apart, and they're not doing anything about it. All they're investing in is the playing squad, and they're not really. I mean, obviously they had an alright season last season, but they're not really hitting the heights that Man United of the Premier League era at least should be hitting. But that's the Glazers' fault apparently. So they're buying the players and giving the managers the money to go and buy these players. But when the players don't perform, it's the Glazers' fault. Like how do you work that one out? But they're not investing in the infrastructure.
You asked the question to our fans. Who would you rather have as owners? Owners who are going to invest in the playing team a lot more than anything else, and be like Man United, where it's not necessarily going to guarantee success. As you say, falling down ground, that needs rebuilding. Training facilities are old. Everything's fucked around them. What do you want? Do you want owners who are going to balance it? So you've got a bit of everything. You've got one of the best stadiums in Europe, and we've kept it where we wanted it. We've kept our home, kept all that history. All the people who've gone before, all the memories are still there, thanks to them, because anyone else would have come and rebuilt a fucking stadium. Would have knocked it down and rebuilt it. But we don't spend billions on the playing staff. Or what do? You let the club go to wreck and ruin and buy a load of players, go into debt, and then you're fucked. It doesn't work like that. They don't understand the business side of it. And as I say, that's where, when I have me moan about going to match and that, how much money to the club earn through the tourists, it's a hell of a lot, because we don't spend as much. It's like our thing. We ask you not to buy from the club shop, which is fucking stupid in a way, because it goes on our club, but they don't need the money from the merchandise and the tickets anymore. They earn enough through sponsors and the Premier League and competitions. So, yeah, I think that the locals and the everyday match going fan, I've got people from all over the world who go to the match, who message me, and they get tops, or they pick them up from me when they're over here from Norway or Singapore or wherever. It's madness. But they get it. They get what it's like to love Liverpool like a Liverpool-born person.
Yeah.
They get it. They're the exact same as us. It's passion. They love the community. They love the city. They love our people. The people who hate Fenway Sports seem to be the same group who don't really like Scousers, who don't really get our values and our politics and why we bring it into the game. So they don't interest me really. If you've got a dead set agenda against Fenway Sports because they're not spending billions on the playing staff every season, like it's a Champ Man. I've just downloaded Champ Man 01, 02, and I've remembered the cheat where you can go a manager of an other club, sell them all your best players, and then retire, and then you just manage Liverpool then with all the best players. But it doesn't work because I'm still shit at the game. That's what they want. They want to be able to just go and have the best team on a sheet of paper. They want to be able to look at the piece of paper and go, wow, there's Haaland there, there's Bellingham there. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't make sense. It can't be done. That's not how football works. That's how games work. That's why it's a fucking game and it's not real life. But in honest terms, Fenway Sports can't have really done much more for us. There has been times where we've been crying out for midfielders, but instead we overhauled the forward line. Klopp said himself that he wasn't expecting the decline he got from his midfielders and the injuries he got in his midfielders, and that's why it's taking this long to do what we need to do. But it will get done. So again, if it comes to the end of this window and Fenway Sports, Klopp comes out and says, right, I've asked for this much money to buy these players and we've been refused, then we'll go, fucking hell, they've cost us again here. But at the minute, we're in links with players we want to be linked with. We've bought players we wanted to buy. We're strengthening positions that need strengthening, and we're getting rid of players that aren't going to play often. So as a business model, we're doing everything right at the moment. We've just got to wait to see how the summer pans out, see what our first 11 is, and then we can judge them again based on this season. But overall, they've overseen us win everything. Overseen us win every trophy whilst building the club up and up and up. And eventually, we will become that bastion of invincibility again.
Yeah, agree with everything you say. So, look, thanks to those who did send questions in. We'll try and make this a regular thing on it as well, where we do throw it on social media. Maybe a bit earlier than a few hours before we originally planned on recording next time. But yeah, we'll try and make it a regular thing and get the engagement up and that. But I think that's a nice place to leave it today. So Jay, pleasure as always, and to everyone who's listened and watched over the last couple of episodes and the last couple of weeks, thank you. The response has actually been fucking boss. So it's fucking it's boss to say love it. So thank you all. Keep watching us, keep listening to us. Whatever you listen to us on, give us a rating. If you're watching us on YouTube and not subscribed, please do. Drop comments on the videos. Comments, send us messages on social media, and let's just keep it going. But thanks so much so far.
As well. Obviously, everything we discuss isn't going to be agreed with. I reckon I'm going to get absolute help for me Canate comments, and I embrace it because we're all different. That's what's good about this supporting a football team thing. As long as it's not over the top and ridiculous, then can get in touch. Do you know what I mean? We want to hear what you disagree with, what you agree with, what you find that you enjoy about the podcast. So all you'll get from us is honesty, and if it makes us feel stupid or sound stupid to you, then that's great, because it's a debate, isn't it? That's what it's all about.
That's it. But on that note, up the Reds.
Up the Reds.